Welcome back, darlings. In this video, I'm going to show you the differences between the In2Detailing DA9, the new one, and the outgoing DA8. And the reason I'm going to look at that is because this is still doing duty as the DAS6 Pro V2. It costs more than this ever did, and it still costs more than this. So let's see which is the best. Okay, so I've been using this for about 18 months now, and I wanted to spend using it that amount of time before giving you my verdict and opinion. What I can safely say is, and the Cliff Note version is, this is definitely worth buying over the DA8 or now the DAS6 Pro V2, but it's not worth upgrading from the DA8 to this if you already have that. Okay? Why? There's a bit in this. I'm going to talk through some specs first, then do some side-by-side comparison in usage so you can see that, and then come back for a final verdict and explaining everything. First up, let's get the elephant out of the way. This thing, an elephant makes it sound like it's heavy. It's not. This thing's 750 watts motor. That is 900. So it's down on power, but it's up on torque. And what I found in use is that this means that I probably run this one speed higher than I would normally. And it's like starting speed in 1 is very slow. Too slow, probably too slow to be useful. Therefore I start it in 2, whereas that one I start in 1. If I was polishing at speed 4 on that one, I'd come up to speed 5 in this one. But I never really go up to 6, so there's no real need to go flat out. And if you do with this one, I guess it's a bit slower than that, but it doesn't stall anywhere near as much, I found. That was pretty good anyway, but this doesn't stall as much because it's got that extra torque, and I found it genuinely does make a difference. So the power deficit isn't really the deficit you think it is. Both units come with 3-inch and 5-inch backing plates. The 5 inches are both vented. I think they look exactly the same to me. Now, interesting things here on the grips is that this one has a lot more rubber on the DA9. The DA8 only has it on like the platypus bill. They both come with a D-bar if you want it. You're never going to want to use it. Why does that matter? Its vibration dampening is the fundamental thing, so it helps you not get as bad hands from it. I also think this thing runs a lot smoother than that. So another reason why I go for this, it's less fatiguing. And to talk about fatiguing, it's lighter. Definitely in use. I don't know by how much, but it feels lighter. Therefore, I feel like I can polish more without taking breaks with this thing. So all of these bits add up to the reasons as to why I think it's better. Also, the polishing performance doesn't suffer for it. Let me go and show you some side-by-side footage of me using the two and show you my thoughts as it's going on. We're going to start off with the 5-inch pads, and then I'm going to do some 3-inch stuff on the nose or around the wings. I've primed both these pads by washing them in the pad washer, and then I'm going to use a bit of Mother's CMX 3-in-1 primer polish because that's the package I'm using on this. Really, I'm going to be looking at noise, vibrations, and the amount of cut they get. Now, I'm using a light pad really in the Rupes yellow fine, and I'm not really cutting hard here. That's not what this package that I'm doing is, but it will give you a good insight to how these perform. So let's get on. Oh, and apologies for the get up, but this is required to get the shots that I need. Suffering for the art. Right, so I'm going to prime up the pad. As ever, when you start polishing, you spread it out on the lowest speed. So I'm doing this on speed 1, and now I'm cranking it up to about speed 3 or 4. What I forgot with this polish is that you don't really need to work it as much. It's more of a spread, working lightly, and then buff off. So I've done a few extra passes in this set than I would do normally. Right, so we have a look here. From that to that. Back again. All right then. So now for the DA9. All right. Bit of a priming on the pad. And here I'm actually spending a lot longer spreading it out on speed 1. Now cranking it out there though. That's onto speed 2 now. So speed 1 on the DA9 is a lot slower. I'm going to mention this point a few times actually, I think. It's a bit rough and a bit rumbly, so if you put it up to speed 2 to spread, it's akin to speed 1 on the DA8, and that actually gives you a nice smooth feel.
and now I'm up to speed 4 or so just to work it in.
The haze here, just get rid of that. So, levels of cut seem similar. Okay, so my initial impression is using them side by side, even though I've used both of these quite extensively. Side by side, this is a bit vibey and slower at speed 1, but when you're up to the correcting speed, this is nice. When you're up onto 4, it's still a bit slower, so you'd actually crank it to 5. But when you're on 4 or 5, it's really nice. It's smoother, and it's smoother than this, which is interesting. We'll get onto that a bit later. But yeah, it is nice. I'm now going to do the rest of the bonnet in a similar fashion, so I get a good feel for them both and kind of come back with a bit more footage and some insights. So let's see how we get on.
So I'm just going to spread it out and then crank it up. Have a listen to the pitch differences here. This is all sped up to about 800%, but have a listen to the pitch difference here, and then we'll listen to the same on the DA9. Okay, I'm spreading it out there on speed 1 and now cranking it up to speed 4. It's a much quieter machine. The pitch is different and it's less jarring and draining on the ears.
So, something I've been doing when I've been using this previously is actually I haven't been putting it down with speed 1. I've been putting it down with speed 2 because speed 1's so slow relative to the other one. So let's go for 2.
And I found this really interesting throughout the video, actually, throughout this test. The hopping and swapping between the two different polishes really helps you appreciate the differences in how they feel in your hand and the level of vibration, really, and then the weight of the machine. And that's why I really started to notice it. If I'd just been doing the whole panel with one polisher and then I went and did another panel with the other one, I don't think I'd have really felt the difference all that much. But when you're switching from one to the other, you can really tell, and the DA8 is a lot more vibey. This is interesting because no one else has done this test as far as I'm aware, and this is the test that's really, really important.
Give these a wash out. It's definitely a lot slower. Speed 1 is definitely a lot slower, but that's not a problem. They feel as dry as each other.
Now, one of the important things about these two polishers is that they both have this 3-inch backing plate, which means you can use one machine to do big and small areas, or wings and curved areas when you want the smaller pad. They both perform very, very well here. The 3-inch backing plate they both come with is this thick, like hockey puck style one, and the reason it's like that is it's counterbalanced, so it doesn't vibrate anymore. If you put a thin pad on there, a thin backing plate, it would be really vibey in your hand, which is the problem I had with the old DAS6 Pro.
I hope that's been useful. You can go and see the full review group test I did of all the other DA polishers from In2Detailing, by the way. But back on this, I think for the money, you can't miss. I think the things they've changed about this are a big improvement over the DA8 and therefore the DAS6 Pro V2, because it's just the same polisher in a different dress. Again, I reiterate the point, I would not get this as an upgrade from that. The performance envelope differences aren't big enough to warrant the cost, but I always buy this over that, hands down. Both got 6-meter cords. There's no reason you would buy a DAS6 Pro V2 over this, in my opinion. It adds nothing. The additional power, I don't think, makes the significant enough difference. So there you have it. I hope that's been useful. Links are down below, discount codes down below, and yeah, happy polishing. Also, if you've got an idea of like a kit that you would like, if you were going to buy this with, say, a polish and some pads, let me know and I might be able to get a bundle put together on In2Detailing. I'm thinking there's a medium cut, and I really like the Rupes yellow wool and foam pads, so I might go with that as a combination I really like. The Visitor Trapeze or Thermo pads are really good too, but I prefer the Rupes ones personally for just ease of use and comfort. I like them. If the Visitor ones might be a bit better, but the Rupes ones are nicer to use. So yeah, hope you found that interesting. Go and subscribe, like, comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one.